Until we get equality in education, we won't have an equal society. I do know one thing about me: I don't measure myself by others' expectations or let others define my worth. The Latina in me is an ember that blazes forever. It is important for all of us to appreciate where we come from and how that history has really shaped us in ways that we might not understand. We apply law to facts. We don't apply feelings to facts. There are uses to adversity, and they don't reveal themselves until tested. Whether it's serious illness, financial hardship, or the simple constraint of parents who speak limited English, difficulty can tap unexpected strengths. I firmly believe in the rule of law as the foundation for all of our basic rights. We educated, privileged lawyers have a professional and moral duty to represent the underrepresented in our society, to ensure that justice exists for all, both legal and economic justice. I have never, ever focused on the negative of things. I always look at the positive. I am an ordinary person who has been blessed with extraordinary opportunities and experiences. Today is one of those experiences. I am a product of affirmative action. I am the perfect affirmative action baby. I am Puerto Rican, born and raised in the South Bronx. My test scores were not comparable to my colleagues at Princeton and Yale, not so far off so that I wasn't able to succeed at those institutions. I have never had to face anything that could overwhelm the native optimism and stubborn perseverance I was blessed with. Sometimes, idealistic people are put off the whole business of networking as something tainted by flattery and the pursuit of selfish advantage. But virtue in obscurity is rewarded only in heaven. To succeed in this world you have to be known to people. My job as a prosecutor is to do justice. And justice is served when a guilty man is convicted and an innocent man is not. The truth is that since childhood I had cultivated an existential independence. It came from perceiving the adults around me as unreliable, and without it I felt I wouldn't have survived. I cared deeply for everyone in my family, but in the end I depended on myself. My diabetes is such a central part of my life. It did teach me discipline. It also taught me about moderation. I've trained myself to be super vigilant, because I feel better when I am in control. I would hope that a wise Latina woman with the richness of her experiences would more often than not reach a better conclusion than a white male who hasn't lived that life. Personal experiences affect the facts that judges choose to see. I am a New Yorker, and 7 a.m. is a civilized hour to finish the day, not to start it. I can and do aspire to be greater than the sum total of my experiences, but I accept my limitations. I willingly accept that we who judge must not deny the differences resulting from experience and heritage but attempt, as the Supreme Court suggests, continuously to judge when those opinions, sympathies and prejudices are appropriate. It's not the heart that compels conclusions in cases, it's the law. You can't be a minority in this society without having someone express disapproval about affirmative action. I do believe that every person has an equal opportunity to be a good and wise judge regardless of their background or life experiences. You know, failure hurts. Any kind of failure stings. If you live in the sting, you will, undoubtedly, fail. My way of getting past the sting is to say no, I'm just not going to let this get me down. I want to state up front, unequivocally and without doubt, I do not believe that any racial, ethnic or gender group has an advantage in sound judging. I do believe that every person has an equal opportunity to be a good and wise judge, regardless of their background or life experiences. I'm young at heart, I'm young in spirit, and I'm still adventurous. So many people grew up with challenges, as I did. There weren't always happy things happening to me or around me. But when you look at the core of goodness within yourself, at the optimism and hope, you realize it comes from the environment you grew up in. I savor life. When you have anything that threatens life, it prods you into stepping back and really appreciating the value of life and taking from it what you can. If your child marches to a different beat, a different drummer, you might just have to go along with that music. Help them achieve what's important to them. If the system is broken, my inclination is to fix it rather than to fight it. I have faith in the process of the law, and if it is carried out fairly, I can live with the results, whatever they may be. I am an ordinary person who has been blessed with extraordinary opportunities and experiences. If I write a book where all I've ever experienced is success, people won't take a positive lesson from it. In being candid, I have to own up to my own failures, both in my marriage and in my work environment. I have had positive experiences with cameras. When I have been asked to join experiments using cameras in the courtroom, I have participated, I have volunteered. When I call myself an affirmative action baby, I'm talking about the essence of what affirmative action was when it started. I think that the day a justice forgets that each decision comes at a cost to someone, then I think you start losing your humanity. My judicial philosophy is fidelity to the law. I realized that people had an unreal image of me, that somehow I was a god on Mount Olympus. I decided that if I were going to make use of my role as a Supreme Court justice, it would be to inspire people to realize that, first, I was just like them, and second, if I could do it, so could they. Although I grew up in very modest and challenging circumstances, I consider my life to be immeasurably rich. I have spent my years since Princeton, while at law school and in my various professional jobs, not feeling completely a part of the worlds I inhabit. I am always looking over my shoulder wondering if I measure up. I was raised in a Bronx public housing project, but studied at two of the nation's finest universities. I did work as an assistant district attorney, prosecuting violent crimes that devastate our communities. I was a keen observer and listener. I picked up on clues. I figured things out logically, and I enjoyed puzzles. I loved the clear, focused feeling that came when I concentrated on solving a problem and everything else faded out. My hope is that I will take the good from my experiences and extrapolate them further into areas with which I am unfamiliar. I simply do not know exactly what that difference will be in my judging, but I accept there will be some based on my gender and my Latina heritage. I have ventured to write more intimately about my personal life than is customary for a member of the Supreme Court, and with that candor comes a measure of vulnerability. Oh my God, I don't think you can say anyone looks forward to controversy. I don't prejudge issues. I come to every case with an open mind. Every case is new to me. Diabetes taught me discipline. The worst thing you want is a willy-nilly judge who is swayed by the political whims of the era or the time. What you want is a judge who is thinking about what he or she is doing and is thinking about it in a principled way. Each time I see a split infinitive, an inconsistent tense structure, or the unnecessary use of the passive voice, I blister. When I'm concentrating, I can be fixed in place for hours. In fact, there was a joke in my office that everybody would come and chat outside my door because they knew, no matter how loud they talked, if I was concentrating, it would not disturb me at all. We have to look and ensure that we're paying attention to what we're doing, so that we don't reflexively institute processes and procedures that exclude people without thought. Visit our website for more quotes, quoting.com.